Intuition is never far away from sexuality. You see this with water signs, for example. You and I both know that Pisces is considered to be one of the most intuitive signs out there in the zodiac. And they proudly own that. Every single Pisces, either in the early stages or the latter stages of Pisces, clairvoyant or empathic, they have an intuition about them. But intuition and the practice of intuition is also the exact same where sexuality is concerned or sex is concerned. They go hand in hand. Intuition is not separate from desire and sex because the basis from where you essentially want to be practicing your connection and intimate connection must be from that intuitive space. It must kind of like be the foundation from where you allow the flesh to project through. It mustn't be flesh first, which is masculine first, and then you live in the consequences of a spiritual entanglement, which is currently the case now. And that's just the relationship with this taboo subject. Just like intuition, sex has this, hide away, don't talk about it approach. There's not really an openness, just like there isn't an openness where intuition is concerned. So if I grow up, I'm gifted, I see things. School is not educating me about this. I can't go and get a degree on flippin' paranormal activity, but even saying paranormal is just the observation of a spectrum of very low vibrational peeps on the other side of the veil. I'm talking about a whole university or a school honors the fact that there are gifted individuals, and so there's an understanding of that is open for your family to know, for the religious institutions to know, and so that you don't live in this taboo world where if you dare say you empathic, prophetic, family members judge you, society judges you, you gotta flip in here that you are crazy, making things up in your head, or the psychiatrist gives you medication. So that same energy, sex. Sex is not fully understood. It is seen as the way it has been preached about and spoken about. Shame is the first introduction where sex is concerned. You hear about don't get a STD, don't bring shame to the family, whether you're the boy or the girl, don't be a mother before your time. Where miscarriages are concerned, hush hush. But we're not also considering that what was the action before a miscarriage, what was the action before having a baby. Suddenly when the baby comes, it's like a blessing of God, but yet it's shameful how that blessing came about, the action. And the sex in faith is not really a thing, but the concentration of energy and the persecution of people where sex in fear, that is more done because that's the introduction to where any topic of sex is concerned. If you understand intuition, and if you know anything about intuition, especially in your own practice, you know that your desire and that sexual part is not far away. So they are hand in hand, spirit and that out-of-body experience. Sex is ayahuasca if you find your match. Sex is psychedelic if you are practicing the vulnerable approach, not the flesh-bound approach. If you understand that sex where you put flesh aside and you're not doing what the donkeys are doing, and you approach where your match is intuitively matched up with you, and I like telling and teaching that you must be able to be intimate with your partner and say that in the union of what we're about to practice, very much like Kundalini, where there's an action, physical action, to the point where you are sweating and the body is using its muscles and you are in certain prostrations. In the action of Kundalini, when you do Kundalini exercises enough time, your Kundalini yoga, it's a very, very kind of like high cardio experience. And then you do Nidra yoga afterwards, which is basically the practice of like being in Shavasana, which is surrendering after so much activity, you sweating, and then whoop, You go into a state of not moving. So that moment of intimacy, if you intentionally, for example, fast with your partner and you come together knowing that the action is not about who's your daddy and give me some more backshots. It's more the premise of we are together practicing vulnerability, so no one is taking charge but God in this action. That level of vulnerability between man and woman is owning up to the fact that we are in action going home to God, and that's our objective. So it's just the stomach and the gut and the feminine spirit of vulnerability, both on the male and the female, that comes together in union to then have this transcendental experience. So that happens when you intuitively connect with someone. And if love is the foundation of this practice, love is like gasoline around a fire where intuition and two matched up people in frequency is concerned. It's powerful. I'm telling you, you don't need psychedelics. You don't need to go to Peru. When the one who is meant for you at that context, you guys match from gut, not from a one-dimensional desire. Oh, I see Nathaniel and I have this sexual desire but for Nathaniel. But does Nathaniel have that for you? Fatek, no. Don't have that shit for you. I don't know who the hell you are. That's your egoic projection. So that's not the basis of it. That's egoic. When there's a matching where both parties click and it's in the gut feeling and it's a very energetic base as opposed to a physical attraction, when that is nurtured in relationship and there's trust and there's vulnerability, and like I said, sex is understood not only in the flesh but as an intuitive experience, it is psychedelic. It is extremely powerful, which is why I feel religion, education, family structures, and tradition, and society at large shamed the shit out of sex. Just like psychedelics, the DMT here is shamed. You are not. No one speaks about your intuition, the power of intuition. No one really allows it to be normal, to be able to see beyond the veil, have prophetic dreams, and use this, especially of service to people. No, that shit is taboo. Just like understanding sex between you and your partner and allowing God to be present, not shame. Allowing God to be invocated into this experience, and in a certain context where, like I said, you fast, you have your candles, you're burning frankincense, and then you practice vulnerability and say we're going home together to be one in front of our Father. When sex becomes that practice, Jesus, you don't need ayahuasca, you don't need shrooms. Everything that the shrooms have is inside of you. The stuff that the serotonin is here inside. It's provided by the sun, but it's also inside of us. Equally so with dimethyltryptamine. It's here. All of you listening to this video, yours is right here. And if vulnerability gets experienced, it's like going into homeostasis times 2, because there's 2 people. And so the energy of this one and that one, if there's alignment, you surge, you become very powerful energetically. And when I do readings, I can see whether that is pulsing as a beautiful beam between the 2 people or whether it's dead. Unfortunately, in my readings, there's more flippant people who have no connection. It is dead. When they do connect, I can see in a reading that you guys are doing, it's as good as the donkeys. It's as good as the bloody donkeys. The donkeys are doing the same thing. So at an energetic level, there is no vulnerability. It is routine. It is mundane. There's no safety, no trust, and playfulness, which is a very important action where faith is concerned. The childlike energy between 2 people is concerned, and the no shame aspect. Yeah, if that is not there, then there's 3 levels of orgasm. just like there's 3, or 7 layers of chakras and energy. The first level is just flesh, what the donkeys do and what the flippin' dogs do. The second level is emotional. And then the third level is transcendental. But it's like saying you have to learn how to meditate. You're not going to just know meditation by doing simple 5-minute meditation. You want to go through the levels of dropping through your brainwave states from like delta or theta, and then deeper into gamma, and then you go into homeostasis. It's the same thing where orgasm is concerned, but that is premised off finding a match based off your energy, not attraction. So the eyes sometimes can lead people astray and therefore have very poor consequences where energetic ties is concerned. It's one of the themes we unpack in the sex bootcamp in Jan. So if you're interested in understanding as an intuitive the power of sex, and also how you can't shame sex just like you can't shame someone who is intuitive, it's the exact same thing. You can't shame the fact that someone has a gift. It messes with them. If there is a gift and a very strong intuition, I'm telling you, the fire sign, Sagittarius, Aries, is going to feel they're going to know that sexual desire. The Pisces, the Scorpio, knows that sexual desire. The Virgo, the most flippin' powerful prophetic dreamers, the Geminis, prophetic dreamers, they know the sexual desire. There is always a correlation between the desire and the openness where sex is concerned and those who are highly, highly intuitive. Why do you think Ram Dass had shenanigans going on? Very, very wonderful person to listen to. Definitely an intuitive, but there was... Go find out about his life. There was, sexual activities there by those retreats. Same thing with Alan Watts. Same thing with so many yoga retreats. There's all intuition, and sex is never far away. Intuitive people. Intuitive. But sex is always somewhere. Either in the flippin' religious institutions, but it's covered up. In India, I know there's a lot of practices covered up, hush, hush. And again, where there's shame, you already know it's going to shit. Where there's one-dimensional obsession, like I see this person as a guru, and the person is not teaching like, if you know how to be intuitive, then you know and can discern between the ego desiring and the energy connecting. So if you are taught well in your intuition, sex and choosing the alignment in a partner becomes easier. But if you don't know your intuitive capability, the point of choice, which is the stomach, the place where grounding and not thinking and attraction is concerned, but feeling is concerned, that place must essentially choose. And if that's not the case, the eye chooses, and the eye always will leave you with consequences of energetic ties that really affect the intuitive people in a way that they're not even conscious of. Some of you are carrying exes and it's still there. You're having like PTSD pertaining to an ex-husband, ex-wife. Your entanglements, though you are with a new person, will still stay entangled. You will have ancestors that are not even yours entangled. Why? Because you think as an intuitive person, you're just having sex. It's just little flesh connection. You don't realize what you are doing, which is why I love teaching. Understand your intuitive ability, practice, feel, awaken your stomach, know how sensitive you are. Sex bootcamp, now understand the levels of what you can achieve in this practice, how you use your intuition to choose your connection, and then from there, the power of this practice where letting go is concerned, vulnerability is concerned. At least in this bootcamp, I allow you guys to join up as a couple, or you can be there as a single. But we cover all these phases, especially how to practice to get into that transcendental state. As long as you're intuitive, yes, like it, you're going to have something happen between the two of you, or at least learn what you're supposed to have, so that when you get into a relationship, it's not just there as a flesh and a release, but there's such crazy magic where you guys are, if you know how to practice to be union, you're going to instantly see how that plays out in how like there's a symmetrical experience or a unified experience that is synchronized in the two. So if there's genuine vulnerability, you and your husband, you and your partner, literally, if he gets sick, you get sick. If he thinks about something, you think about something. If you think about something, he thinks about something. Your left hand is sore, his left hand is sore. You had a thing for sweet potato, they had sweet potato. Like this is just minimum stuff. You experience the experience of a psychedelic experience as one, but it's just shooting out through two different places, but it's the unified vision that you will see. You will see the same colors after that connection in physical, and then laying in meditation together afterwards. Same story, just permeating through two different people. If the connection is from the gut, not one person's obsession with someone else. That's not a connection. That's ego. Connection is two pulses at the same rate. They feel the same thing. Boom. We then go forward. That should be the basis. Intuition should be the reason why you are with someone, not your thinking or what your eyes see. Attraction is one, but it should light up all the chakras. So it's not just your pineal gland that must choose. It's the whole family unit of 7 chakras and more that must choose. And equally so, it must be the case with the other person. Then we're building a foundation of what sex can be as an experience for the both of you. And you don't, like I said, society shames the shit out of this practice, just like they shame the shit out of awakening consciousness. They don't teach it in schools. They don't talk about it in religion. The 3 places, family units, the 3 places where you're supposed to have this kind of teaching, awareness in the faith and sex, liberation and sex, freedom and sex. Instead, there's just fear, shame, don't do this, don't disappoint. And that already tells you, just like consciousness and awareness and seeing things and hearing things, there's a similarity here. And so you as an intuitive must wake up to this and not live into the repercussion of what these institutions, family, religion, and mass society, they just perpetuate. You are intuitive, so you know you are black sheep. You know you are different. So sex and your relationship with sex can't be just one-dimensional. You must know that the way you're going to experience it is going to be magical. But like I said, some of us experience this in a clean kitchen in our stomach because we are healthy, mind, body, and soul. And some of you, though intuitive, very sexual, but where you are having sex, it's like having sex in the graveyard with goons and demons and, low vibrational energies. And you exist, you guys. You know who you are in your low vibrational experience of sex. I'm just saying that is there, but you don't have to only be there. There is a lighter version that is more led first by a grounding in knowing who you are than an attraction of thinking you know what you want. Big difference. I'm teaching that in the sex bootcamp come January. If you want more details, email me and I'll give you the breakdown. Hope you enjoy the video.